You know Sheletta makes you laugh, but did you know Sheletta Brundidge can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Sheletta Brundidge founded Sheletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Sheletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Sheletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to another episode of the Get Lean and Lit with Lindy, which is the podcast for women over 40 who want to get healthy, who want to build muscle, who want to lose fat, and to do all those fabulous things without losing their minds. That's what this podcast is all about. So I'm your host, Lindy, and today we're talking about one of the questions I get asked all the time. So the question is, Lindy, what do you eat in a typical day? So let me start by saying this. What I eat is not magic. There is no secret fat-burning smoothies to be had, no detox tea, no mysterious supplements that arrived from the Himalayan mountains and rained down in my kitchen. None of that. It's just food, consistent, boring, sometimes delicious, but mostly regular schmegular food. And honestly, that really is the whole point. So the women who successfully lose fat and keep it off usually don't do anything extreme. They're just doing simple things and doing them consistently. So today I'm pulling back the curtain and sharing with you guys exactly what a typical day of eating looks like for me and why. Hopefully it'll provide some inspiration for you in your meal planning. So first things first, before I tell you what to eat, let's talk about why I eat the foods that I do, because you should eat in a way that matches your goals. That's what I strive to do. So my goals right now are to build muscle and to maintain muscle. You already know that's going to be the top of the list. To lose a little bit of body fat. I want to improve my metabolic health. I want to keep my energy up for all the activities that I do, especially my weightlifting and my pickleball extravaganzas. I love pickleball. I want to support healthy aging, and I want to feel good, comfortable, and relaxed in my clothes. Those are my goals. So please notice that what isn't on my list of goals is being the smallest, skinniest version of myself, starving myself, or eating as little as possible. Absolutely not. And obsessing over calories every second of the day. Never. At this stage in life, I care much more about strength than being skinny. And I want to be the woman who can carry her own suitcase at 80 years old. That's my goal. Not the woman who can brag about fitting into a size 2 20 years ago. Who cares? Several years ago, I thought I was eating really, really healthy. I was eating big salads, drinking green smoothies every day, eating granola and whole grain everything. I was eating all the foods that the wellness magazines and the health industry in general told me that were healthy. And yet my waistline was still slowly creeping up. I remember standing in the closet one morning trying on a couple pairs of jeans that suddenly, quote unquote, didn't fit me comfortably. So my first thought was, I need to work on my willpower. I need more willpower. And my second thought was, maybe menopause has completely broken my metabolism. Thank goodness it turned out that neither one of those things was true. When I finally started tracking exactly what I was eating on a daily basis, I discovered I was consuming a few more calories than I realized and not eating enough protein. So I was healthy-ish, but I wasn't eating in a way that's supporting gaining muscle or losing fat. That was a huge wake-up call for me. And that was several years ago. That was probably about 10 years ago. So I'm going to walk you through what my day of eating usually looks like. And I'm going to start with breakfast. Because after that epiphany, almost a decade ago, I really got it together and I feel like it's on autopilot at this point. So I want to share it with you guys. So for breakfast, most mornings, probably 9 out of 10 mornings, I have a Greek yogurt bowl. So for that, I use plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Feihi 0% is my absolute favorite. It has the best taste. I use the Greek yogurt because it packs a lot of protein for the calories. Plus, it has live active cultures for gut health. Then I add blueberries, chia seeds, Ceylon cinnamon, and crushed walnuts. So I also add a few drops of stevia to give it a little bit of sweet taste. So this breakfast is simple, it's quick, it's filling, and there is no cooking required whatsoever. And there's a bonus in that it only requires one bowl. You can just make everything in the same bowl. You don't have to wash a whole bunch of dishes. But most importantly, it gives me a substantial amount of protein before many people have even found their coffee mug in the morning. So I feel good about that, stepping out with my protein. Now, could I eat eggs? Absolutely. Could I eat oatmeal? For sure. But this works for me because I have chosen to lead each one of my meals with protein. And studies show that when you start your day with protein, you have more stable blood sugar throughout the day. You have fewer cravings overall for junk food, which is fantastic. I recommend that you too pick something that you like and something that you can eat on repeat, because the best breakfast isn't necessarily the one that some social media influencer lives by. It's one that you'll actually eat consistently. And if you're down with eating the same thing every day or on most days, you remove a decision point that you won't even have to think about. Makes your mornings go very smoothly. It's very easy. You can meal prep something, the same thing, and eat it every day and be good. During the mid-morning, I usually drink hibiscus tea or green tea. Those are my two go-tos. So it's nothing super exciting. It's like no $12 coffee drink with 6 pumps of syrup, whipped cream on the top, and little chocolate sprinkles. None of that. It's just really homemade tea that I steep myself. Oftentimes, I'll add a scoop of protein to my tea, because if I can sneak in protein before noon, just a little bit more here and there, that's definitely a win for me because I have goals. So just a quick tip, if you decide to add protein, a protein powder to your tea or to your coffee, first mix it in a little bit of room temperature water so that it won't clump when you add it into your hot beverage. That's a tip. So if you're a regular, lovely listener of my podcast, you already know that protein is my absolute favorite non-negotiable macronutrient. I talk about protein pretty much all the time and try to evangelize for it because people don't eat protein as much as they should. Women over 40 need more protein than most of us have been taught. Not because we're trying to become bodybuilders, but because muscle becomes harder, so much harder to maintain as we age. And muscle really is our metabolic retirement account. It's our 401k for our bodies. So the more you preserve and build muscle, the better off you're going to be later in life. So for me, every meal I eat starts with one question: where's the protein? So just to be clear, it's not because protein is magical. That's not what I'm talking about. But because of all the good work that protein does for our body. That's why I'm such a fan. For example, it helps with your fullness. It helps your recovery of your muscles after you've worked out. Muscle maintenance, so muscles just not disappearing on you as you age. And it helps your blood sugar control. These are all critical functions with lots of valuable benefits. So it's the nutritional equivalent of hiring a really good employee who quietly does 10 jobs at once. That's kind of how I look at protein. Okay, now let's talk about lunch. So my lunch is usually built around a serving of lean protein. Sometimes it's chicken, sometimes it's tuna, sometimes it's salmon. I also like ground turkey because it's super versatile. So once I get my protein situated, It's usually 4 to 5 ounces of whichever protein I select. I then add my vegetables. So for me, my favorite vegetables are broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and carrots. Those are like my top tier ones. Any vegetables will do. I mean, I would say lean more towards leafy green vegetables, salads or lettuce or spinach or greens in terms of like kale or, any type of lettuce. It could even be collard greens, for example. So get your protein ready, get your vegetables, and then I add some carbs. Yes, carbs. The internet will have you believing that carbs are like evil or the devil, but healthy whole food carbs are absolutely not the enemy. I often include things like potatoes, rice, fruit, beans, lentils in my meals. I focus specifically on high fiber carbs. Carbs are necessary for me specifically and for you as well, but for me because carbs fuel activities. And my activities are vast. I strength train several times a week. I walk 7 to 10,000 steps a day. I cycle on my Peloton bike. I play pickleball, and I'm simply just running around doing errands or traveling or doing something that requires energy. So if you too are active, you need carbs to perform your best as well. That's just a law of nature. So low carb eating is not the healthiest, and it's proven not to be sustainable over the long run. So get into the carbs of it all. Figure out which your favorite carbs are, which are the healthier carbs, and get into it. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the day I stopped being afraid of carbs. For years, I treated carbs like they were members of a crime syndicate, okay? If I ate a potato, I expected to gain weight immediately. If I ate rice, I thought I needed to feel bad about it. Then, of course, I did a ton of research, as I like to do, and I also met with a registered dietitian who reviewed my diet. She looked at my food logs and she said, you need more carbs. As active as you are, you need to eat more carbs. I thought she had confused me with another patient. I was like, wait, hold on. More carbs? Are you serious? Like, what are you talking about? But ultimately, I listened to her advice and I followed her suggestions. And something surprising happened. My workouts improved in terms of my stamina and my energy. My overall energy improved. My recovery and sleep improved. And I stopped feeling like I was dragging myself through the afternoon sometimes. So it turns out the problem wasn't eating carbs. The problem was not eating enough of the right foods overall. So once I got my balance right between protein, carbs, fat, fiber, it was all good. Now, depending on the day, sometimes I will have an afternoon snack. It really just depends on what I'm doing on a given day, how active I am, and if my appetite is requiring me to eat more. So sometimes I don't need a snack, sometimes I do need a snack. But when I do have an afternoon snack, a typical snack for me is a protein shake. It's cottage cheese. I love Good Culture cottage cheese. That's the best one to me. Cottage cheese and fruit or Greek yogurt. Or if I'm traveling, I'll have a protein bar made by a company called Bearbell. And they're, 20 grams of protein for a bar, 200 calories. It has, I think, 3 grams of fiber. So it's a good substitute for if you can't get to a meal. I don't like to eat protein bars on a regular, but if I'm, I need something convenient, that's the protein bar that I go to. Just know that the goal isn't perfection at the end of the day. The goal is preventing the kind of hunger that leads you to eat a half a loaf of bread while you're making dinner. I know we've all been there, so this is a no judgment zone whatsoever, but let's wrap our heads around how we can make it, our nutrition, be the best thing that we can make it be. So, okay, lovelies, now I want to talk to you about fiber. Protein gets all the attention, usually from me as well, but fiber deserves a lot more love than it receives. I love fiber because fiber helps with appetite control, it helps with digestion, blood sugar regulation, and cholesterol management. And sadly, most women are not getting enough fiber in their diets. So I make a conscious effort to eat fruits, vegetables, berries, beans, legumes, all kinds of fiber-rich foods throughout the day in each one of my meals and snacks. So the thing with fiber is it's not glamorous. Nobody's talking, about fiber or making TikTok videos go viral talking about fiber. But fiber quietly does some amazing work behind the scenes. So put some respect on its name, okay? Fiber is necessary, 25 to 35 grams a day. Get into it. Okay, now let's move on to dinner. My dinner is usually very, very simple. I keep it super simple. So I pick a lean protein again, like I did at lunch. I pick a lean protein, I add some veggies, and again, I add a reasonable serving of carbs. So it's nothing fancy. I do not get into making complicated recipes. That is totally unnecessary, and it kind of throws you off plan if you're focused on, the next great 10-step recipe. I can't do it and still stay on program. For me, some nights it's simply grilled chicken. It might be fish, salmon, which I love, healthy fats. Some nights it's just whatever I can assemble without creating 14 dirty dishes, because I don't want to be doing dishes all night. Because here's the reality. Eating healthy has to fit into my real life. It has to fit into your real life. If your nutrition plan requires 2 hours of food prep every night, it's not going to survive the stress test of a busy week. You don't have time for that. I definitely don't have time for that, and I'm not going to make time for doing that. So back in the day, I vividly remember one time when I went out to dinner with a friend and ordered exactly what I thought was a super health conscious meal that I should have been ordering, should in quotation marks. It was a salad with dressing on the side, no cheese, no croutons, topped with grilled chicken breasts, no carbs whatsoever. It was very wholesome, it's very demure, and is also very miserable at the end of the day. Meanwhile, my friend ordered salmon, potatoes, vegetables. She drizzled a little olive oil over the whole plate, and she was grubbing. She enjoyed her meal. So later that night, I was hungry again, and she wasn't. That dinner taught me something very, very important. Healthy eating isn't just about the least amount of clean food that you can eat. That's not what it's about. It's about eating enough of the whole good foods that actually support your goals. So ever since then, basically, I've been focused much more on nourishment and nutrient density, and much less on earning imaginary gold stars for eating healthy meals. Who's giving gold stars anyway? That's not how it works. Also, once I finish dinner, the kitchen is closed. It's absolutely shut down until breakfast the next day. So I have to make sure that I eat enough to feel satiated so that I won't need to snack at night. Okay, and let's talk about what I don't do when it comes to nutrition. So I don't do detox situations. I don't do that at all. I don't do cleanses. I don't cut out entire food groups. I don't panic after one indulgent meal or one treat. And I don't try to make up for overeating by starving myself the next day or over exercising. That's just not how it works. So please come to grips with the fact that one meal doesn't make you healthy and one meal doesn't make you unhealthy. What really matters is what you're eating most of the time, what decisions you're making for the majority of the time. So the biggest lesson I've learned as it relates to nutrition over the years is this: consistency beats intensity every single time. So the women who succeed aren't the women who are always having perfect weeks of eating. They're the women who keep showing up after imperfect days. Women who eat protein, who eat fiber, who keep their bodies moving, who strength train, women who stay consistent, and they just keep going, put one foot in front of the other day by day by day. That's really the secret. Nope, it's not glamorous. It's not exciting at all, but it is incredibly effective. Well, lovelies, that is all I have for you today. And if today's episode was helpful for you, please share it with a friend who is absolutely tired and done with diet culture and trying to figure out what healthy eating actually looks like after the age of 40. And if you're enjoying my podcast, please leave a review. It helps other women find practical, evidence-based advice without any gimmicks. So until next time, keep it real, keep it consistent, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Boom! I just earned a $600 bonus with an Old National Bank checking account.
You got this.
I do?
Earn up to a $600 bonus when you open an eligible checking account and complete qualifying activities. Old National Bank. Just another reason to get old.
Can you say bonus?
Were you counting on a personal care assistant or autism provider who is no longer able to provide services for your child this summer? Don't panic. The Minnesota Department of Human Services just finished an urgent statewide effort to make sure providers of high-risk Medicaid services fully comply with state requirements to provide quality care. The department recently completed a top-to-bottom compliance review of almost 5,600 providers of high-risk services, including personal care assistance and autism programs. If your child's provider was disenrolled, it is time to be proactive. Let me ask you a question. Does your child have a case manager? They usually can help you find a new provider. If your child does not have one, the department will be reaching out to you directly to make sure you know how to find someone new. Understand what's happening and how to get help at mn.gov/DHS/find-care.
Our mission is to positively impact and enhance the lives of those who serve or served. So the support center, we built this as a place to really be a community center for those that we serve, those vets, those first responders, and then their families. It's a place where they can go be with other people in a safe, healthy, welcoming space. Our support center has a big focus on the arts because the arts are something that help our people heal. We have a large wood shop, a laser room where we laser engrave, wood, metal, plastic, glass, slate, all kinds of different things. And then we have an art studio where we paint and we color and we draw and thread work. And we have a 3D printer in there. Then we also have a gym. We also have access in our space to immediate access to therapists and support that way. So, when people are having a tough day or they just say, today is the day I need to talk to somebody. At a normal place, it's really hard for you to just walk in and get that support. Whereas here, we have that.